What's up, y'all? Anderson here, and today I want to talk about Keni Harrison. So it looks like it's announced that Keni Harrison has moved to Arizona. She's left Bobby Kersee in Los Angeles, moving to a new training group, moving to a new coach, and some big changes in Keni Harrison's career. And she's gone through a couple changes, a couple moves in her career in the past. She's had some success. She's also had some struggles, but wanted to dive in and kind of talk a little bit about it, considering the 100-meter hurdles for the women right now is probably the most competitive event, has been one of the most competitive events for literally for generations. It's always one of the top events on the schedule because the women go head to head, and especially this era of women, we're looking at the deepest era of women's 100-meter hurdling that we've ever seen. So is Keni Harrison gonna be able to keep up? Is she kind of like maybe gonna struggle, or who knows? But let's dive in a little bit. She posted on Instagram, she said year 9 loading. She put a location, AZ, ALTIS, Keni crew, and this pretty much seems like she's moving to Arizona to train under the ALTIS group. And this is a pretty interesting move, but I think this is a really good move for her. In Arizona, under ALTIS, you have Coach Andreas Brem, and he's the head coach for the sprint hurdlers there, and he's a very, very high quality coach. You're talking about a coach who's worked with Aries Merritt, 2012 Olympic champion in the 110-meter hurdles, a world record holder in the 110-meter hurdles. That 2012 season was legendary. The greatest 110-meter hurdle season that we've ever seen. Olympic gold, world record holder, 12.9 a ton of times throughout that entire year. Yes, Andreas Ben, he coached Aries Merritt, for a couple years to get him a couple other medals as well. And I know he's not very high profile, but he does have the accolades. But I do think that this is going to be a very interesting move. And based on the fact that Andreas has some really strong credentials, I think that this is going to be a positive move for Keni as we look forward in the rest of her career. I know a couple of people were noting that the ALTIS group is based in Atlanta. From my understanding, Andreas, he trains his group of athletes in Arizona, but then there's a few athletes who are based in Atlanta. I know previously Courtney Okolo, I know Amir Webb, they would train with the ALTIS group. Courtney Okolo, she now trains with Vince Anderson in Texas at the Rice University campus with like Bryce Deadman, Champion Allison, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't know. I know it looks like Keni Harrison is in Arizona. But on top of that, she's gone through a couple moves. 2015, that was her final year at the University of Kentucky, NCAA champion in the 100-meter hurdles. She was killing it that year. She made the world championship team to Beijing that year and competed in the 100-meter hurdles. She made it to the semifinals, I think, and she had a false start, so she wasn't able to get into the finals. But she had some success that year. And then the following year, 2016, that was the massive year where she broke the American record first, I think, at the Prefontaine Classic. Then she went to the USA Olympic Trials, and she unfortunately did not make it onto the team. She finished down in like 5th place or something like that. You saw Brianna Rollins McNeil, you saw Nia Ali, you saw Christy Caslin. They made the team, and they went on to sweep. But prior to the Olympic Games, after missing the team, Keni Harrison, she broke the world record, 12.20 seconds, breaking the world record at the London Diamond League. So everyone was kind of talking like, oh, they need to change the rule. She should be put on the team, but the USA swept the podium. Regardless though, I think that world record kind of set the expectations for the rest of Keni's career to say that she should be a gold medalist. She only could win gold or else, she's not achieving success. Over the next couple years, she did make the 2017 team. She finished 4th place at the London World Championships. Then she got a silver medal in 2019. 2021 at the Olympic Games, she got a silver medal. And then 2023 at the World Championships, she got a bronze medal. So in my opinion, Keni has a relatively consistent career. Yes, she doesn't have the gold medal. Yes, she doesn't, she hasn't gotten, ahead of her world record, since 2016. But I do think that she has displayed consistency that not a lot of athletes have been able to do. The 100-meter hurdles is not an easy event, and considering how competitive it is, to see her have 3 global medals, 2019, 2021, and 2023, I think that speaks volumes. But throughout that entire time period, she was working with Coach Flo at Kentucky. 2018, Coach Flo got a job at Texas, and he moved down to the University of Texas in Austin. Keni Harrison followed with him. While she was at Kentucky, she was training with like Corey Carter, Sidney McLaughlin-Levrone, Jasmine Camacho-Quinn, Omar McLeod. When Coach Flo moved down to Texas in Austin, a couple of them left, right? Sydney went to Joanna Hayes. You saw Jasmine Camacho-Quinn. I think she went to Gary Evans. You had Omar McLeod. He went to like Raina Ryder. But you had Corey Carter, Keni Harrison. They moved down to Austin. You also had Jenna Prandini. She joined the group in Austin under Coach Flo. They were training. They were consistent. We saw Keni Harrison get that medal at the World Championships in 2019. We saw her get the medal at the Olympic Games in 2021. But At the end of the 2022 season, that's when she moved over to Bobby Kersee. And that was a big, big deal because that was kind of like the Avengers assembling or the super group assembling where you had Keni Harrison, Jenna Prandini, Athing Mu, Brandon Miller, you had Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, you had Chloe Abbott, you had Morlake Kinnison. So many athletes were joining that crew, and Bobby Kersee was like the quote-unquote, master coach and all this kind of stuff going on with so many of the top athletes in the world. And guess what? 2023, Keni Harrison got onto the podium at the World Championships getting that bronze medal despite such a competitive event at that point. So leaving Bobby Kersee, this kind of makes things really interesting on two fronts where one, just highlighting Bobby Kersee's group. Of course, you still have Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone there. You still have Athing Mu, but Athing Mu, she's been injured, still up and down. She, of course, didn't make the team last year. So her status right now going into 2025 is maybe a little questionable just in terms of health. But then you also have Brandon Miller. He left the group. He went to train with Brooks Beast. You also have Jenna Prandini. Jenna Prandini and Keni Harrison, they've kind of been like best friends and they've been, training together. They've been like the closest of athletes and training partners. But now that Keni Harrison is moving down to Arizona with like a specific kind of hurdle coach, even though he does work with Andreas, he does work with Craven Gillespie. So maybe Jenna's moving there, but based on the Instagram post, it doesn't seem like it. Who knows? Who knows where Jenna might move? Morlake Kinnison, she, retired, 2016 Olympic gold medalist. And then you have, Bobby Kersee maybe doesn't have that massive stable of athletes anymore. So when we look at Keni's career though, based on what the landscape of the 100-meter hurdles is right now, is she going to be able to keep up? Is she going to be able to remain competitive with the rest of the world based on what we've seen over the past, let's say like 3 to 4 years, right? Since the Olympic Games in 2021, I personally think that was like a shift in terms of, what the women's 100-meter hurdles is looking like right now. And what I just want to look at are the all-time marks in the 100-meter hurdles for the women. So like I noted, you have Keni Harrison, her 12.20 seconds. That was a world record back in 2016. Tobi Amusan broke that world record 2022. And then when you look down the list, you have a couple athletes from the 80s. You have, a couple marks from the, 2010s in terms of Keni Harrison. You also have like a couple of newer athletes, Akira Nugent, Masai Russell, et cetera, et cetera. But what I want to look at are the performances over the past 4 years, since 2021. And when you look at that, you'll see how much depth has been accumulated over the past few years in the 100-meter hurdles just since 2021. As I said, Tobi Amusan, you also have Keni Harrison, she's been in the mix. Akira Nugent, very, very newcomer to the scene, right? Masai Russell, also a super newcomer. Jasmine Camacho-Quinn, the most consistent, in my opinion, 100-meter hurdler over the past 4 years. Has medaled at every single global championships, 2021, 2022, 23, and 2024. You also have, who else is in here? You have, like I said, Akira Nugent, Nia Ali, she's also been putting down some great marks. Brittany Anderson from Jamaica as well, Serena Samba Mayela. So many women have been extremely consistent when talking about the past couple years in the 100-meter hurdles that it's essentially very, very deep. And this is including marks from the 80s and the 90s. If we take a look at just the marks in the past 30 years, that's even where it gets a little bit more competitive when talking about these 2020s. Again, you're talking about some of the top marks of all time run in the 2020s. And if we look at marks that are just 12.29, so anything that's sub 12.30 seconds, you have 15 marks that are sub 12.30 seconds, and only 5 of them have been run outside of the past 4 years. That speaks to the depth of the 100-meter hurdles for the women right now. That is going to be very, very hard to get past. But just want to highlight Keni Harrison. What has she done throughout her career? Now, we know that she has that world record, but in 2016, she also ran 12.24. That was the American record at that first point. But she does have a couple good marks in the past couple years. 2023, she ran 12.24. 2023, she ran 12.31, 12.33. 2022, 12.34. So she has a strong stable of marks over the past couple years. So it's not like she's just completely dropping off, right? She is able to remain relatively consistent with some of the athletes that we've been seeing over the past couple years, but she does definitely need to step things up. One thing that's important to know is Keni got 6th place at the Olympic trials this year in 2024. And check out the video that I did talking about my top competitions of the 2024 season. That 100-meter hurdle race at the Olympic trials was the deepest race in history for the 100-meter hurdles. Keni ran 12.39 seconds, got 6th place, and was not even close to making it on the team. That was the first time in history that we had seen 6 women run sub 12.4 seconds. And Keni Harrison just happened to be number 6. So that does speak to the depth of talent, not only in the United States, but around the world right now. Mentioned Akira Nugent, Jasmine Camacho-Quinn, Serena Samba Mayala, Brittany Anderson. All these women are really, building up this, this landscape of women's 100-meter hurdling that is going to be very, very hard to crack. But based on the times that Keni has been putting down, it seems like she still is very much in the mix. And what I love about Keni is notice the progression of her career and the medals that she's achieved. 2015, when she made her first World Championship team, that was essentially the era of Sally Pearson, of Dawn Harper Nelson, of Brianna Rowlands-McNeil. They were kind of the dominant forces back then, right? Sally Pearson, she was winning the gold medals. You had Dawn Harper Nelson, she was winning all the diamond leagues and the medals. Brianna Rowlands-McNeil, Olympic champion, as well as the world champion in 2013. But then fast forward, you get into another era where you have like Nia Ali, 2019 world champion. Then you're in the current era. And guess what? Keni Harrison has been able to medal essentially throughout these different eras. Yes, 2015, 2017, she didn't get a medal. 2016, she didn't get a medal, but she broke the world record back then. Currently, she's been able to win medals in 2019 as well as 2021 and 2023 against these current athletes. So there is something to be said about her tenacity and her drive to compete to the best of her ability. Yes, she hasn't gotten a gold medal. Yes, she hasn't broken her world record again, but I do think that she still is in the mix. Now, moving coaches, of course, that's going to present some interesting dynamics where she's of course going to have to, move houses, right? She's of course going to have to, readjust to a new environment, readjust to a whole bunch of things, new training style, new training partners. All those things are definitely going to be different for her. And there might be an adjustment period, but I do think that Keni has a drive and has the ability to compete when it matters most. Yes, she's not winning all these gold medals, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see Keni get on the podium once again at the World Championships later on this summer. Yes, she does have to make the team, which is going to be very challenging with Masai Russell, with, Alicia Johnson, Grace Stark, Nia Ali, Tania Marshall. So many women are in the mix right now. It's deep, but Keni Harrison could potentially do it. So I don't know. What do you think about Keni Harrison making this move? There's a couple other women who have made moves. You've seen Tobi Amusan. She moved down to Jamaica to train with Glenn Mills. You also have Serena Samba Mayala. She moved over to Tandra Buford-Bailey in Texas. So a lot of hurdlers are kind of shifting things a little bit, but will we see Keni Harrison kind of remain in that mix? I don't know. It's going to be very tough, but I think she's capable of it. Let me know what you think. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Always appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching.